Whenever I'm down, I call on you, my friend. A helping hand you lend in my time of need. So I'm calling you now just to make it through. What else can I do? Won't you hear my plea? Friends may come and friends may go, but you should know that I got your back, it's automatic. So never hesitate to call, 'cause I'm your brother and always for ya. And I don't know what I'd ever do without you. From the beginning to the end, you always been there right beside me. So I call you my best friend through the good times and the bad ones. Whether I lose or if I win, I know one thing that never changes, and that's you as my best friend. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Ty. It is Tubi Tuesday. That is when I review a Tubi movie, and today's Tubi movie is called Best Friend. That's why I'm over here butchering Brandy's song, Best Friend. Y'all know I'm so corny and goofy. I gotta sing a song that matches whatever I'm talking about. Y'all know how I am. But what's up, y'all? This is Ty. How y'all doing? It's Tubi Tuesday. Before I get into this film, Best Friend, let me give a shout out to all my lovely subscribers. All of y'all, thank you so much. And especially the ones that are watching these Tubi movies with me on Tubi Tuesday. Shout outs to Quiet Guy, Lamont Simpson, Jennifer Calhoun. Jennifer, I got your message about this movie about the First Lady. I'm going to check that out, too. The First Lady. She said something, some First Lady movie on Tubi I need to check out. Savannah Rivers Amore, Dupree, Quentin Baptiste. Quentin, what's up? Yes, I started watching, I call it Tommy, but I know it's called Power Force. I started watching Tommy. I'm going to get that review up. Should be up tomorrow. It should be. And shout outs to Randall Brown, June BLC, Atif Penny, and all the rest of you wonderful, lovely, Karima Khadijah, and all the rest of you wonderful, lovely people. Now, with that being said, I thank you for keeping this channel going and growing. Let's get down to this review. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share, leave comments down below. Let's keep this channel going and growing. Let's get on down to this review of Best Friend. Now, this is another Chris Stokes, Marquise Houston production. Written, directed by Chris Stokes. Chris Stokes, if I'm not mistaken, he was the manager for B2K and Immature, and he might be related to Marquise Houston. And y'all know Marquise Houston from Sister Sister and from he being in the group Immature. So, you know, he's been in quite a few of these Tubi movies, the Stepmother series, and now this one, Best Friend. And I'm looking at the cast, and I see this woman, and I'm like, she looks so familiar. One of the leading ladies. Her name is Soraya. She was on Empire. And, of course, we got Marquise Houston. And then I noticed Jonathan Wesley. You know him mostly from Roll Bounce. I know him from Roll Bounce. He's been in other things, too. And Blue Kimball, who was on, what's the stripper show that I like that comes on Stars? What's the name? P-Valley. He was on P-Valley, and he's been in a number of things, too. So they round about the cast on here. And it's about Trish and Jamie, that's played by Soraya and Marquise Houston. They're best friends. They're really close. They've been knowing each other forever. Jamie, we're learning. We see they set this up automatically they set this up early on in the film. The beginning, they show this scene with somebody getting attacked and unfortunately getting killed. But then they go into us meeting them. And Jamie and Trish are very close. They live together. They almost felt like a couple at first in the beginning, but then we're noticing they're best friends. They treat each other very well. They live in a beautiful apartment with floor. Y'all know how I feel about floor to ceiling windows, y'all. That's my goal. I gotta get me in a. I'm manifesting the penthouse. But see, I always make it about me. But throughout this entire film, everybody's apartment was fly. Everybody's apartment. Do they still say fly? Everybody's apartment was really, really nice. Really nice. Everybody's apartment. I'm looking at the apartment like, damn, I like the apartment. Everybody had a nice apartment. So anyway, Trish and Jamie run a marketing firm, and they have this idea of becoming the Costco, what did they say? the Costco of the Costco business of, let's say, the internet and radio, and kind of merging that for marketing. So they have this plan to merge this marketing plan that they want to sell to companies. And they get to do this with this, they get a meeting with this guy, Mr. Maxwell, who is this, Jason Maxwell, who is this big time billionaire. And, you know, they're setting up that we got to set this up. You know, this could bring their company to new heights. And they finally set up a meeting with him. And in the beginning, when he comes in for the meeting, he's a little rude and short with them. And he's like, listen, hurry up and get to the point, because, you know, don't waste my time and all this other stuff. And so Jamie is trying to speak, and he's kind of made Jamie nervous. And then, you know, Trish gets up and speaks. She says, listen, you being rude. She kind of got stern with him, and she wasn't afraid of him. She said, you're being rude. Either you're going to listen or you're going to leave. And he kind of liked that. So he listened, and then he said, okay, I like this. Draft up the paperwork and we can meet. He said, but first, we got to go to dinner. So the rest of the crew, they're thinking, the staff, they thinking, oh, we're going to dinner. Nah, no. Jason is like, no, me and Trish are going to dinner. So he has this thing where he's like, I want to do business with you, but first you got to go out on a date with me and all this other stuff. We got to talk it over. That's a little unethical. So I'm looking at him like he's a little bit creepy. But of course, she goes through with the date and all of that. And Jamie's telling her, wanting to know how everything went, this, that, and the third. They end up, you know, they're getting close to getting this deal done. And I believe they went on like 2 dates or something. So unfortunately, she's coming home. And Trisha's coming home, and Jamie's already home because they live together. Beautiful place. And he's like, what happened on the date? This, that, third. She said, listen, this guy's getting a little out of hand. He wanted me to hang out with him some more. I'm not really feeling him like that. And I had to pretend to be drunk to get away from him. Fast forward to the next morning. On the news, homeboy Jason, the billionaire, is dead. And apparently it was supposedly a car wreck, because he was drunk driving. But the thing is, homeboy don't drink. So it's like, what's going on with this? So as the story progresses, we meet a detective Kyle, who's on the case and working on this. And we've learned that Jason was poisoned. So I like this setup so far. I'm invested. I was invested so far because I'm like, okay, this is getting good, because I thought it was one thing. I thought it was going to be like some kind of relationship thing, a storyline. And then it took that turn of, whoa, there's a murder. I didn't know that Jason was going to get murdered. I was like, okay, so now we're going to figure out who is the murderer. I thought all that was interesting. I love this setup. I like the introduction of the characters. All of the characters I was invested in. And I like when they set up a great tone, letting us know these are successful people, career-oriented. These two are very close with each other and things like that. And then we learn Detective Kyle and his rookie partner, and they're talking about the case. And she's like, why don't you go see that Trisha girl, because something is up. Something is up. So they're suspecting her of murdering him because they're saying that Jason's been poisoned. But my thing was, I knew it wasn't her, because I was like, why would she murder him when they're trying to get this big deal going for their company that will really bring their company to the next level? So then after that happens, I said, you know, because I like to start trying to guess. I was like, let me guess. The twist here is probably that Jamie is the murderer. And I was like, okay, maybe that's the twist here. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe Jamie's the murderer, and that's the whole twist here. So I was kind of right a little bit, and I was like, okay, that's what's going on here. But then as the story progresses, because Jamie's acting a little weird, he gets upset with her, because now, this is what was weird. When the detective comes to their home, Jamie tells him, you don't have no warrant, bro, get up out of here. We ain't want nothing to do. We don't want no part of you. Things like that. But then, behind his back, Trish gets the card, and she goes and pays Detective Kyle a visit. And the strangest thing happened. They get chemistry, and now she's dating the guy that was investigating her for the murder of the other guy that she was on a date with. And I was like, that's kind of stupid to date this dude, or is it? Maybe you think you get yourself off. So I said, where is this going? I'm still invested, y'all. I'm invested, because I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm liking this. I'm like, there's got to be a twist in here somewhere. Then this causes Jamie to be jealous and act a certain way. And I'm like, okay, Now I'm starting to think maybe I'm correct. Maybe Jamie is the killer, but I'm like, that's too obvious and too predictable. Now I'm getting mad because I'm like, I don't like predictable movies. So he's bugging. He confronts Trish. He tells her, listen, I was following you. I followed you because he found out she was dating the detective, and he insults her. And he says, you know what? He told her something like, it was low what he told. He said, I'm the brains and you're the beauty. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have a job. And he said, your job is to lay on your back and you can't even do that right. That was rude. So I knew right there. I said, yeah, he likes her. So he's jealous. So she slapped him, kicked him out. Apparently she said she don't know laws because you just can't kick somebody out like that. But because if he stayed there all that time, he's a resident there. You can't kick him out even though your name is on the deed. That's not how the laws work. But anyway, she kicks him out. She tells him, get out of here. My name is on the deed. You don't insult me. She's hurt. He's hurt. And then we later learn he comes back to her house. Now he's getting really creepy now. He's back in her house sitting in the dark. And I said, no, he can't be the killer because they setting it up too much for us to think that Jamie is the killer. And then we get another backstory, and he's telling her, listen, yes, remember back in the day when I believe they were in college, whatever, and your boyfriend, Brian, you didn't want to give him no nookie. He was going to assault you. So I had taken care of that. And so since then, I've always followed you to protect you. That's why I was following you around. Because he tells her, listen, I followed you around with Jason. I followed you around with this dude, Kyle, the detective, this, that, and the third. So he's coming off real creepy, so he did say all that, and he said, he told her all that stuff. He ended up getting arrested and all these things and all this stuff, but then he got let out because his uncle is a judge. So then we fast forward. Trish and the detective Kyle are hitting it off good and well and heavy and all this stuff, and then we see Jamie go to the detective whose house was also banging. Everybody had a nice place in this film. I'm obsessed with nice places. Anyway, he goes to this detective's house and tells him, listen, you better stay away from Trisha. So I said, they trying to really make me think that he's the killer. And I'm like, nah, that can't be it. And he's like, you better stay away. And he said, are you threatening me? But then Kyle says something that made me suspect him, because he said, I got her wrapped around my little finger. Now, if you're just dating somebody, you're not going to say that. So I said, wait a minute. So I started putting 2 and 2 together, but my 2 and 2 didn't equal 4 because I was wrong. Because I was close, but not quite close. So anyway, time goes on by. They get another deal going on. Trish and Kyle are continuing to date. Jamie still works at the company, but at one of the meetings, he tells her, listen, I'm going to take a break, a breather, and go out of town for a little while, whatever. And then we see him get attacked. And next thing you know, he is being held. He's tied up by Kyle, the detective. And I'm like, okay. So then I knew right there, I said, aha. But only thing I was off on, I thought Kyle was... I said, wait a minute, is Kyle Brian? Because I said, that's going to be corny if they make it like, I'm Brian and you thought you killed me, but actually I wasn't killed and I changed my face. Because I've seen a movie like that where the person supposedly changed their appearance and was another person. But that's not what they did here. But I was close. What they did end up doing here is, remember in the beginning, that little murder scene we saw, that was Jamie attacking Brian. And he ended up killing Brian. Now, it turns out Kyle is Brian's older brother who found Brian's body. And so he's been wanting revenge all these years because he's like, you killed my brother. And it was all because of this girl. You killed her for her. And I was like, I don't know if I like this plot. Because I'm like, how do you know he killed him? Is that what Did Brian whisper that to you? How did you figure that out? So you spent your whole time when I figured out that you two were living together. Now he did the whole villain thing that they do in like Batman, especially Batman in the 60s, the TV show, where instead of just killing you, I'm going to tell you all my plans right here, right now. And he did that whole thing. You see, here's my plan. I'm going to kill Trish, and then I'm going to frame you for it like I framed you for Jason Maxwell. And I'm like, oh my God. He said, so I'm going to make it look like I'm going to make it look like you killed him. And then I'm going to kill her. And then I'm going to arrest you and frame you for everything. And I'm like, but he's alive. He can easily tell them that you killed, but I guess he figured it'd be his word against Jamie's. And he's like, and then I'm going to get this big promotion and this and that. She'll be dead. And he's like, and by the way, I ended up having sex with her. I know you wanted her, but I had her and it was to die for. So I'm like, okay, but I'm still invested. I didn't like that outcome, but I was like, okay, I'm still invested. But then the final scene was so corny to me because I was like, y'all, this movie was starting off good. When we got to the final scene, y'all, Trish is coming over to see Kyle. Kyle's like, hey, baby, blah, 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 blah. Jamie comes right out. Clearly, he wasn't tied up hard enough. He said, you tied up an Eagle Scout. You can't tie me up. I'm an Eagle Scout. I know how to get out of ropes. Corny. And now Kyle is like, oh, yeah, And he's like, tell her what you, Jamie's like, tell her what you plan to do. You kill Jason and you're going to kill her and you're going to frame me. And she's like, is this true? That whole scene could have been written better. That conclusion was a little corny for me. I was like, oh, but I was enjoying the movie up until that little twist they did. And I was like, And so then he's like, yes, I am. Ha ha. And then this little corny scene where he shoots in the air. Instead of just killing them, you want them dead, just kill them both. That's all. But he shoots in the air and they tussle and they get outside. And I like good fights. That was a weak fight, but they get outside and just in time, here come the police. And Kyle is like, arrest him. He's the murderer. And the rookie cop is like, no, I hate to do this. Give me a gun. We're arresting you. And it looks like Jamie recorded. They had the recording. I guess somehow he let the cop hear it. I guess he must have called her or whatever. And so she heard the whole thing. I don't know. But it was like, I know it was you. And now he's arrested. I didn't like the ending. I didn't like how they did that. And then, of course, the judge who's related to Jamie told him, well, since you're the one who killed Brian, you got to do your time, too. So he does do his time. And at the end, we see him come out. And we see Jamie come out. And he's back at the company party. And him and Trish in the company are doing happily ever after. Listen. That ending, y'all had me. I was with y'all. The ending was just disappointing. I ain't like that. That twist was I was like the twist was a little weak. That conclusion, I should say, was a little weak. I wanted more. I don't know. It felt like y'all built it up real strong, and then y'all just said, okay, and then we're gonna do this, and you just I didn't care for how it ended. But I overall enjoyed it. I enjoyed the performances. I was invested. I wanted to know what was going on. I was trying to guess. I was trying to figure out. I thought I was close because I thought, oh, he's actually Brian, but he wasn't. He's Brian's brother. So, okay, still. But I knew it couldn't have been Jamie being the one who's doing this stalking and killing of her, the stalking and killing of Jason, because they were setting it up that way. And whenever movies set it up that way, that's not the way it's going. But overall, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy myself. I enjoyed myself, so that's all I can say. Did you like this movie? Did you watch this movie? Watch it and come back and give me your feedback on what you thought about this. Like I said, and that's what I've been noticing with a lot of these Tubi movies. These endings be pissing me off. Like, y'all will build it up and then get to the end and like, oh, and then this. And then it concludes too weak for me. The conclusion was I could have been a lot more action or something in there. I think you should have had Trish come in there and have the detective Kyle say something that will slip up and say something. Then he attack her and then have Jamie come out and get a tussle like that. It should have been a more build up at the climax. It should have been a bitter, something like that. But again, I didn't write the movie. That ain't how it went. It went the other way around. But it is what it is. So that's all for now. Those are my thoughts. Like I said, I thought it was decent. I I love the scenery. The acting was pretty good. It was just the last kind of let me down a little bit. But I'll give it decent. It was decent. I mean, it's a Tubi movie. You know, come on. Let's, you know, it is what it is. They dealing with a certain budget. So, but that was it. That was all. Thank you for watching. Tell me your thoughts. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video.